Show dedicated to the people, events, and news of BC's Peace Region.
Good morning, I'm Dub Craig. Welcome to the show. A little later on, we're going to be checking in with Environment Canada meteorologist Brian Proctor. We'll talk about this weather this weather we're having in the Peace right now, and also talk about Environment Canada's new color-coded system for issuing weather warnings.
And I'm Caitlin Coombs. But first, earlier this month, the Fort St. John Chamber of Commerce announced the results of its 2025 election. The Chamber advocates for, supports, and promotes businesses across the North Peace. Joining us today is Deena Del Giusto, the new president of the Fort St. John District Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So you are new to this role, but you're not new to the board. Why don't we just start? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you've done with the board, and kind of your history with the organization?
Sure. So I joined the chamber, I'd say probably about 5 years ago on a suggestion from my manager at the time. He said, you should probably be on the chamber. Let's have a voice, like a business voice on the chamber. So I joined the chamber, and then when elections came up for council, I put my name in and got elected. And then last year, we had to vote in 8 members. So I was one of the 4 second year on the board. So I got vice last year and then president this year. President.
Wonderful. And what has it been like moving from member of the board to vice and now to president? How has that been, and how are you finding it so far?
I think it's a great progression because you get to learn and see what the previous presidents did and the executive directors and, the direction that they wanted to go on. And it's been exciting to follow that progression because I feel like I'm definitely on board with the direction that we were going. So I'm really excited to be able to continue that on.
Okay. And you mentioned the past presidents. Vince, of course, is now, his role is past president.
Yes.
How is it working with him, and kind of what are you thinking for in the future between the two of you?
Working with Vince is very exciting. Vince is a big personality and he's got great ideas. He's outspoken. He's not afraid to share his ideas. So it's, and I think what he's done is great and where he wanted to go is great. So I'm excited to carry on with his ideas and have him, suggesting kind of as past president, still a voice on the board. So yeah, I think Vince and I work together at Remax as well. So I feel like we work really well together. Good synergy.
Perfect. Yeah. And if we can back up a little bit, you've been in the community I've read your bio, you've been in the community for a very long time. Yes. You've been involved with the community. What do you feel that you bring from your experience in Fort St. John to the role of president? How do you feel about that experience?
I've been doing kind of community liaison / sales for oil and gas companies for 21 years. So I feel like I bring a business perspective and then also, perspective on housing and real estate. I have kids who are in sports and schools. So and we need to see doctors just like everyone else. Yep. I feel like I have my finger in all sorts of things that are going on in Fort St. John. So 20 years of, the experience in the community and learning oil and gas and knowing the businesses, etc. I think definitely brings a broad perspective.
Certainly, and that's important for a role like president in something like the chamber. Now that you are president, what is your vision for the chamber and for the community during your term?
This year, we want to focus a lot on advocacy. We have a couple of different initiatives that we're going to try and... So what the Chamber of Commerce is the liaison for businesses kind of between, Fort St. John local and government. We've got the city council and mayor on speed dial. So, if businesses bring up an issue to us, we're going to pass it on to city council. But we also have a voice with the BC Chamber, but also BC legislature. And, that gets brought up all the way to federal level. So, advocacy. We want to work on Taylor Bridge. We want to talk about the Taylor Bridge this year. We want to talk about permitting, which, we know all about how much of a headache that is here and the challenges, etc. But it's not just an issue here. We have different issues, but even down in the Lower Mainland, permitting is it's an all-consuming issue. So advocacy for sure. We want to boost membership this year. I think a lot of people don't know what the chamber does and what it can do and how it can benefit. So I'm excited to talk a lot about that, and hopefully that will organically boost membership.
Wonderful. Membership, especially in a community, the range of communities that you represent, of course, Taylor, Fort St. John, Hudson's Hope, these are great communities, but there's a lot of space, kind of distance in between them. So strengthening that advocacy and also that membership can only benefit the chamber.
Absolutely.
And the communities that it serves.
Yes. Well, and there's huge, when the city did that kind of, I can't remember exactly what the name of it was, in July, when they brought people together to confer about what they wanted, like where they wanted to see the city of Fort St. John go. We heard a lot about agriculture, and, yes, there is a lot of space in between. A lot of that is agriculture, and they feel like they don't have as much of a voice as they should be. And really, at the end of the day, what's more important than agriculture? So yes, definitely fill in the gaps where.
Perfect. And you have a relatively young board. You have a lot of people who are very active in the community, but they're on the younger side. Tell me about that, and is this any different from previous years?
Yes, I'm excited to have a younger board. That was actually something that got brought up when we did elections. I can't say what it was before. I'm not sure. But we definitely need a voice from the younger generation as well. I think with technology and everything that's happened, I feel like, the experience of an older person, I won't say what age older is, but compared to a young, it's a completely different experience on the same planet. So I'm excited that we have the younger board, and I know that you interviewed Ben McCord the other day, and he's doing the young entrepreneurs, and we had a laugh about how it's not age, but there are a lot of younger people.
Perfect. How do you feel about the board as a whole, and is there kind of anything that you think sets them apart, or something that you are really looking forward to trying to do this year and next?
I think that the board has a really wonderful mix of skills sets on it. We have finance. This year we have someone that's in environmental. We have someone that's in the lumber. Yes, we need to look for somebody maybe to come on for mining, but we have somebody that works directly with our MLA and realtors. So I think, again, talking about having your finger on the pulse of so many things that are going on in Fort St. John, I really feel like there's a good array. It's all not all just bankers or same. Yeah.
And I was actually looking online, you have some people in marketing as well, so you really have your fingers in all of the pies in the community.
Yeah, the marketing's gonna be huge. They have such great ideas for our events this year. I'm excited for the Creating Energy Conference. We already have most of the speakers kind of booked and planned, so that's going to be huge this year.
Great.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Deena, and I hope you have a lovely day.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. That was Deena Del Giusto. We will be right back with Environment Canada meteorologist Brian Proctor on This Week in the Piece.
Northeast BC is a place we all call home.
This place has been our home for thousands of years.
We call it Sunechikechi.
The place where happiness dwells. We are hunters, trappers,
fishers, and providers.
We work alongside our neighbors in oil and gas and forestry.
A prosperous Northeast benefits us all. In order for it to remain prosperous,
we must manage our resources sustainably together.
Visit wherehappinessdwells.ca to learn more.
Did you check weather and road conditions? Why? We're not driving far. Conditions change all the time, especially in the winter. Relax. I know these roads. Like that time we took a shortcut and it added 2 hours to the trip. You're right. Next time, I'll plan ahead and allow extra time for travel.
Take your own advice. Know before you go. Be prepared and drive for winter conditions. Learn how at winterready.ca.
Luke here from Fort Motors. We are a proud supporter of the oil and gas industry. From sales to service, parts, and more, Fort Motors can help you get up and running and stay running with vehicles ideal for the industry we live and breathe. Visit Fort Motors today or head to fortmotors.ca.
I know that I'm forgetting something. The tree is decorated, plastic deer are on the roof, mistletoe is up.
Honey?
Stockings are hung by the chimney with care, children are nestled all snug in their beds.
Honey?
I don't get it. I could have sworn that...
Honey, plug this in.
Oh, that's better.
It's so bright, it's like staring into the sun. I think you overdid it a bit.
Not a chance.
This year, all that work decorating can pay off with the Vanek International Properties Best Decked House. Add your house to our Best Decked House map on moosefm.ca or through our 100.1 Moose FM app and show off all those decorations. It's the Vanek International Properties Best Decked House, only on 100.1 Moose FM.
Santa baby, slip a toy under the tree, you see. Been an awfully naughty girl, Santa baby. Hurry to the closet tonight.
Naughty or nice, Veronica's Closet is full of great gift ideas this holiday season, including all kinds of grown-up stocking stuffers. Stop in and see their selection of lingerie, toys, games, massage oils, and more. Have yourself a naughty little Christmas with help from Veronica's Closet, your all grown-up store, on 93rd Ave and also on Facebook.
You can watch this show live on Facebook, catch the replays at energeticcity.ca, or be part of the show by texting your thoughts to the Fort City Chrysler line at 250-787-2222.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Dub Craig. It's been a cold and snowy 10 days here in Fort St. John on the Peace, and Environment Canada recently introduced a new color-coded system for issuing warnings such as snowfall and cold warnings, for example. So to talk all about this and the weather outside, which is frightful, we're joined now by Environment Canada meteorologist Brian Proctor, who joins us from just outside of Edmonton. How are you doing today, Brian?
I'm good, Dub. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for taking a few minutes to chat with us today. Let's just dig into this weather we're experiencing. You were just saying you're just now starting to get this in Edmonton as well. Why has it been so cold and snowy here in Northeast BC suddenly?
Well, Arctic air is the primary cause. So we really saw that cold air surge southwards into the Peace Country over the last, really early in December onwards at this point in time, and it's really firmly entrenched. So it hasn't pushed that much further south as we've had a bit of a westerly flow aloft for the southern portions of British Columbia, which has sort of kept a lot of that cold air at bay and really stalled it over top of the Peace Country more than anything else. And it looks like we're definitely into that pattern, and it looks like it's really set up to be that way much through the end of December at this point in time.
Okay, so we're expecting it'll probably be pretty cold and snowy through the rest of the month, eh?
Yeah, it's looking that way. It's looking very typically La Nina-like, if I can put it that way. So, typically for the Peace Country, colder temperatures than normal, and we do see more precipitation than normal.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned the westerly flow in the south. I mean, they're getting flooding and stuff, so it seems like there's kind of extreme weather throughout BC right now.
Absolutely. It's been a very interesting set a few days down in the lower Fraser Valley especially, and some of the mountain passes going into the southern interior as well. Lots of damage through Highway 3, the Crow's Nest Pass area, or through Crow's Nest going into Allison Pass and across into sort of the Princeton area, and definitely problematic at this point in time. And they're still really staring down the gun barrel. More rainfall coming today, not substantially heavier amounts, but some rainfall, and then possibly another big storm for them on Monday.
Oh, man. All right. Well, let's talk more about the Peace. I mean, I know you kind of get to talking to people about the weather. I do it a lot on my morning show, and it seems to be a lot of people are like, oh, the snow, it's a lot, which is good. I mean, farmers are saying we need the moisture, and that's all good and well, but in terms of averages, and I know we're in an era where that may not mean anything anymore, but the snow we've seen so far in December, it seems like it's been a lot. Is that actually the case from what we've seen, Brian, in the past?
It's a really good question you ask. We've definitely seen heavy precipitation through the mountain passes. Through Pine Pass, they've seen an exceedingly heavy amount of snowfall in the last 7 days, and it's caused a lot of transportation issues associated with that. One of the reasons we've seen snowfall through the Peace Country itself, there's more of the Peace Country, through Dawson Creek and Fort St. John. The amounts haven't seemed significantly high from our observations, but it's been steady snowfall, if I can put it that way. We've seen snowfall on almost every day. And so what I think people are experiencing and seeing it is really, it's just snowing a lot. We're not seeing tremendously high amounts down on some of the lower elevation areas, but it's been snowing a lot. So people, I think the perception is that it's been snowing an absolute lot. But we look at the daily amounts coming out of the airport. The most I've seen is about 11 centimeters in a day to 12 centimeters in a day, which to me isn't, substantially records kind of value snowfall amounts or anything of that nature. Part of it's also due to the observation networks we have, and part of it's also due to the fact that this is the Peace Country. And what do we get when it snows? Oftentimes we get a lot of blowing and a lot of drifting snow. So trying to measure it can become problematic as well. But definitely we've seen a lot of days of snow at this point in time, and I think people are getting a little fatigued from it.
Looking forward kind of to the season itself then. I mean, you said we're kind of looking at this being sort of what we're going to see through the end of December. How's this winter going to look in general? Is it going to be cold and snowy in general, or does that kind of ease off as we move into the new year?
When we look at our sort of seasonal forecast models or monthly forecast models, it's looking La Nina-like, if I can put it that way.
Yeah.
And that typically means slightly colder than normal and more precipitation than normal. And this is something that we really do need given the long-term drought conditions we've had in the Peace Country over the last few years. So from a fire weather point of view, the more snowpack we get, the better off we are moving into spring. And from an agricultural point of view, we really do need that moisture to help with seeding. So it's a good news story. It's a lot of shorter term pain, if I can put it that way, but probably for a better news story in the long term.
All right. Well, let's switch to the original reason I wanted to get in touch with you in the first place, which is we come to Monday, we kind of get the snowfall warning here and also kind of in the Pine Pass where they got hammered, as you said, but a new sort of color-coded warning system, as I always read the weather from the Environment Canada website. Tell us a bit about this new way of saying sort of the same thing we were saying, with weather warnings before, but in a different way using colors instead of, I suppose, watch and warning, for example, which I guess is still being used in another way.
Yeah, those terms are still being used. I think that the best way to think about the color coding system, it's sort of a severity level, if you want to put it that way. So yellow is the least severe and has the smallest impacts. Orange is more severe and more widespread, and red should be very severe, very widespread, and very rarely issued. So it's really a matrix that we put together that sort of tries to assess the impacts and how important the warnings would be, and also uses a bit of a confidence statement as well in it. So the more confident you are of a higher impact event, the warmer the color will be, if I can put it that way. So yellow would move to orange if there's more confidence and a wider impact. Red, very rare, but extremely impactful and extremely high confidence. So if you think about that sort of context for doing it, we look at what happened earlier this week down in the Lower Fraser Valley. It was an orange situation for a warning that we put out for the eastern portion of the Lower Fraser Valley. And really that was about, we didn't have tremendous confidence in how severe it was going to be, if I can put it that way. It was really, we know it's going to be impactful, but it's not going to be impactful like the atmospheric river was in 2001 or 2021. We saw much more localized impacts, if I can put it that way. So we did see that flooding in the Sumas Prairie, Sumas River, Chilliwack areas, but it wasn't the whole Trans-Canada shut down for days on end. And it wasn't, we're seeing washouts on the Coquihalla that were going to require months of work to bring it back into service. So that would have been a red. If we can look back in hindsight, 2021 would have been a red without a doubt. And I think, it's really trying to give the emergency managers out there and also the general public a better feel for how impactful things are likely to be and what they may have to do to try and alleviate some of the concerns associated with that.
Now, in measuring the impact, which I think is very interesting and a really important thing to now say when we have more extreme weather like we seem to be having now as this century draws on. Is there sort of a simple math equation that says for example, for the piece, if the temperature drops we forecast it's going to drop below this, then it's definitely a red, for example? Or is there more of a nuance to, well, we're kind of taking into consideration the snow, the wind, the temperature, the time of year, yada, yada, in order to say that this is an orange alert or a yellow alert or a red alert?
A really good question you ask, and it is very nuanced, if I can put it that way. When we come up with some idea of what we think the impacts are likely to be, we work with our partners. So we talk to the Ministry of Transportation. We talk to the emergency measures people that are out there. You talk to the River Forecast Center in context of flooding. So you're trying to get a feel for what all these players think things are going to be like and how severe it's likely to be. And then that's how we end up coming up with the assessment of how impactful an event may be. Unfortunately, it's not a true sort of science, if I can put it that way. There's a lot of nuance, there's a lot of psychology. So if I said to you, it's the end of November, early December, and we're going to see minus 45 or minus 50 wind chills in the Peace Country, you'd be going, oh, that's pretty impactful. But if it's now February, and we've had 4 of these events already this year, it's not likely to be as impactful because people are more prepared for it. It's always the sudden changes that seem to have the greatest sort of effects upon people and the psychology of how they're going to behave and how they're going to change their behavior. So it's not, a mathematical relationship. It's really in consultation with our partners and trying to get a feel for what's going on and how they think their clients are going to behave.
All right. Well, that's absolutely fascinating. I'm so glad I asked you to explain that. Brian, I'm really grateful you took some time for us. I know you bumped a meeting to make it happen. So thank you so much for checking in with us and talking to us about this. I really appreciate it.
No problem at all. You have a great day, sir.
You too. That's Brian Proctor with Environment Canada. He was joining us from just outside of Edmonton. We want to thank our earlier guest, Deena Del Giusto, for joining us today. And thank you, of course, for tuning in.
You can listen to this show again by checking out the podcasts at energeticcity.ca/podcasts. We'll store this and future episodes of the show there as we make them. Also check out our other locally produced podcasts before the piece as well.
That's our show. I'm Dub Craig.
And I'm Caitlin Coombs. We'll see you next time.
Join us again next Friday morning at 10 for another edition of This Week in the Peace, your weekly talk show dedicated to the people, events, and news of BC's Peace region. Or you can listen to this podcast again at energeticcity.ca.